Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
You're on mute now.
All right, hello and welcome to another edition of C2C Rankem here on September 20th, a Wednesday, brought to you by Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I'm the host, Big B, joined by my fellow co-host, the Prime Moose, Tim Hendricks. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. It seemed weird last week. We've been away for so long, and then all of a sudden it just kind of felt weird. We need to get back into the swing of things so I can get into this again.
Yep. It sucks when you get into a routine and it breaks up for whatever reason. Then you got to kind of fine-tune things. But we're back. Hopefully Wednesday's our new home. But first off, before we get into our topics, a big shout out to our man, our IT guy, as J-Mac calls him, everybody's savory treat. The working man, Crispy Bacon. It's his birthday today. So happy birthday to him. Hope he is having a great day down there enjoying the 2-0 Dallas Cowboys. So,
yep, definitely got to wish the Bacon man a happy birthday.
Yep, exactly. So, again, got some topics. Looks like we're having a little delay on my end to Tim or Tim's end to me. So, bear with us. But anyways, we're kind of doing a what if-ish category, kind of. We're going to talk about places to live that we would like to live, not live, jobs to have, not to have, people living or dead that, kind of have a chit-chat dinner with, and things we'd like to go back and tell our younger selves. So, this should be a good one. Probably not too many snipings today, but who knows? So, all right, let's start with places to live. Tim, I'll let you go. Top 5 places you would like to live.
I'd like to think we might have one, maybe,
possibly. Who knows?
It's a reach, I think, but I think anything would be anything's possible. My number 5. Not many people know my wife unless they talk to her on a regular basis, and they know anything about her childhood. For a brief period during one of her summers, she was an au pair or a nanny, and she didn't do it. She did it for one summer, and she was lucky enough to go and have tea with Boy George. He invited her because she was outside his residence. But I've always thought of this place as a good place that I'd like to live, and I know the language, so it makes it a little more simple. Not going to another country and basically no chow and some food is a whole different type of thing. But she was a nanny for his family, and she's told me plenty about it. But I would love to, like she did for a summer, I would like to live in London.
Okay. I don't know what you went, but I stood with states. So, because,
I have a state. I have a state in 2 cities, a state and 1 city.
Okay, gotcha. So, all right. So, my place I'd like to live, and Tim, my uncle was a big Wolverines fan, but I'd like to spend some time in Ann Arbor, Michigan, get that whole atmosphere.
I've been to Ann Arbor.
Uh,
It's to me, it just feels weird. I get it, because you want to be in a big college city type of atmosphere, and yeah, I can get that. John probably would have had more fun at Ann Arbor than you will, but
oh,
that's
probably,
John.
probably. All right, you're number 4.
Um, I'm I'm pretty average. I'm pretty average for an American in height wise, but I've always wanted to feel like a giant, and moving
Uh-oh.
to this city, I think, and I'm not being stereotypical. I'm not being a stereotype, and I'm not doing that. But I love video games, and I love some of the culture over in Asia. My number 4, and I would be a giant, and you're roughly my height, so you'd be a giant.
Yep.
My number 4 is Tokyo.
Okay. All right. So my number 4 place I'd like to live, because I've seen pictures and actually people that visit this city, or I'll go state on this one, but anywhere in Alaska, because they just said the view and everything. So it'd be kind of cool to live up there. So, all right, you're number 3.
Here's the funny thing is, if I'd have done a number 6, my number 6 would have been Alaska, because it's to me the only downfall with Alaska is it's cold, a little too cold for my life.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. My number 3. I love the countryside, and this is my only state. And every time I see it and I think about it, and it's so secluded, and you would think, yeah, he just said he's not doing Alaska. I'm not. It's a huge state, and there's not that many big cities outside of Billings and Helena. But my number 3 is Montana.
Okay. Yeah, number 3 for me. Again, seen some pictures. Looks like you wake up and it looks like everywhere you get the view of the Rocky Mountains. Boise, Idaho would be a good one, I think. You're number 2.
Yeah, I think Idaho. I think Idaho is along the same lines as Montana. So yeah, I could. That would. Yeah, the panorama would be beautiful in Boise. My number 2. This is my last foreign city. So we're saving a little bit. My Aunt Judy was a foreign exchange student in college, and her foreign exchange, she got to go to Australia. She actually was a foreign exchange student in Sydney and told me a little bit about Sydney. And to me, I think Sydney is one of those cities that have a little bit of everything for everybody. It's got beautiful panorama. It's got so many different things. My number 2 is Sydney, Australia.
Okay. For me, number 2, again, good view of the mountains and stuff. And, it's probably cold, just like Alaska or even here in Minnesota. Colorado Springs, Colorado.
I'm gonna be. Colorado Springs seems like it could be fun. It's cold, but.
All right, you're number 1.
My number 1. I'd be shocked if you have this. Matter of fact, it's a city of one of our current colleagues.
Okay.
It's not Bacon, so I don't see myself moving to Texas. It's not the Barber Brothers, because as much as it's Oregon, I don't mind Oregon and mess around. And even James, and I'm not an LA fan. I don't mind it, but Mr. Callen lives in one city that I would love to live in because the temperature, the panorama, the people, everything I've
Yep.
ever heard about of San Diego, and even I could get past the Anchorman references of San Diego, but San Diego to me is one of those dream cities that I would love to live in.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. But number one for me, my Uncle Paul lived in this city for a while, sent us pictures. Again, nice view of ocean, the mountains, and that would be Seattle, Washington. So,
Yeah,
all right, let's
I
move on to 5 cities or states or whatever places we don't want to live or would not want to live. I'll start, and you actually kind of brought it up just a few minutes ago. Sorry, Crispy, but I'm not moving to Dallas, Texas. I'm sorry.
don't
All right,
don't
you're number 5.
don't feel bad. I've got family and friends that live in the Dallas, Texas, Dallas Fort Worth, Tri-City in the Tri-City area. And I'm sorry, I'll have to meet them in Oklahoma. Um, but my number 5, God, I can't stand this city. I honestly cannot stand this city. I've flown through this city, and I cannot. To me, I don't understand why everybody thinks this city is such an amazing city. Crime rate so high in this city, and I just never get it, and I can't deal with it, and it's so expensive to live there. And that's New York City.
Yeah, I can hear you on that one. My number 4, the weather might be nice, but I heard the traffic's a bear, prices are high. Um, I mean, granted, they got every sports team possible, but that's Los Angeles, California. You're number 4.
My number 4. So New York was my last domestic city / state.
Yep.
And if I say these 4, I think it's pretty obvious why I say these 4. My number 4, because I like freedom. I absolutely love my freedom. Uh, my number 4 is Iran.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would. I don't,
Yeah,
don't want to live in Iran.
I can
No
see
way.
why. My number 3, and I've heard people go down there and just talk about the humidity and all that, and that would be anywhere in Arizona. I'm not living nowhere near that. You're number
Yeah,
3.
I haven't been to Arizona. Well, we're gonna since you brought up a nice deserty place. I'll bring up one too. I can't again. It's about me being a white male from the United States, and we're not too well liked in this country, and I kind of like my freedom. My number 3 is Saudi Arabia, the whole country.
Yeah. Yep. Got you on that. Number 2 for me, yeah, might be the city that never sleeps, but I think it would get kind of boring just doing all that stuff, and that would be Vegas.
Oh no, Vegas is fun, dude.
All right, you're number 2.
I don't know if I want to live in Vegas, but Vegas is fun. I thought you were going to say New York,
Yeah.
New York. Ah, let's see.
No.
Well, let's keep the complete Arab Middle East bashing continuing. And my number 2 is Iraq.
Okay. For me, my number 1 is your number 5, and I can't find our little clip, but yeah, you sniped me at number 5. Definitely New York, New York. I would not want to live there. So we got 1. You're number 1.
My number 1, I think it's pretty obvious. Moscow.
Yeah, that is kind of obvious, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So we got one there. So I have to go back to Vegas as an adult. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I definitely would go down there for a visit, but not to stay. All right. So
I
let's go into working.
working.
Let's go into 5 jobs that we would love to give a chance to or would like to have. So you're number 5.
Honestly, how many do you think we're gonna get out of this one?
If we get one, we'll be fine.
All right. You know, I when I saw this was a possibility of a job, I thought this would be cool, and then I realized no, it's probably not feasible in my future. Um, and then I saw Dog the Bounty Hunter, and I thought it's a possibility again. But my number 5 is a bounty hunter.
Yeah, I actually thought about that. That would be kind of cool to go tracking down some people. Actually, my number 5. I know it's probably a job that a lot of people that have it kind of regret now just because the way the world is. But um, I think elementary would be good. A good teacher, kind of mold the minds. Maybe middle school, but once you get to high school, yeah, that's going to be a battle. So, all right, you're number 4.
I almost became this. This is how weird this is. I went and learned a lot of things, and I would love to try it. Um, it's tough because I'm colorblind, so you have to
Ooh.
distinguish between colors on some things. No, I'm not going to become I don't want to be a bomb tech. I don't want to be able to try to do anything about diffusing bombs but I've always wanted to be a home theater installer.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. For me, um, I don't know. I don't care. I know we said movie actor. It'd be everyday jobs that we're kind of getting at. I think it'd be cool to be like a booking agent or even a sports agent. I think to go into the negotiations and stuff. I think that'd be kind of cool.
That,
So you're number 3.
that sounds like fun. I never thought about that. Now I'm upset. Now I'm really upset. Um, I this was one thing that my family has told me that I should try, and I'm kind of being a little bit while I'm doing these shows with between this show and morning tailgate and on deck. But I've always and everybody in my family says that I'm funny, and I sometimes I don't see it. But my number 3 is a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, I can see you giving that a shot. I mean, you got to find your right niche, like most people do. Uh, my number 3. Yeah, I guess we kind of do this a little bit with the shows that you just talked about and stuff. But I think actually being like a news reporter, I think would be kind of cool, breaking stories and interviewing people. I think that'd be kind of cool. Number 2.
My number 2, and when you posed this category, this was like one of the first things I thought of, and I'm thinking. And then you said it had to be a real life job, and I'm like, no, this is a real life job. I know it is because it gets it gets talked about all the time, especially when the guy's doing a terrible job. I would love to have the WWE's creative control.
Yeah, yeah. I get you on that. My number 2 kind of ties in with number 4 for me, but I see that work almost every day now. And that would be uh like an event coordinator for big venues and stuff like that. I think that would be kind of cool. You're number 1.
I say that, and I do all these. I do two through five, and thinking, wow, those are exciting. And then when you realize what my number one is, it's done. It's like, no, it doesn't make any sense because you just gave some three. You just gave up five, and you gave up four. You gave up four. I gave up four. Really interesting jobs. And when I see the job that I would really love to try is something as boring as being an accountant. It doesn't make sense. But I've always wanted to try to be an accountant.
Yeah, that's funny because I was going to go to school for that, and now
I was too.
looking back, I'm just like, I don't know if I can sit in a cubicle. So, my number one, kind of ties into yours a little bit with number two, I think it was, but I think working just in general with a sports team or a sports organization, even if it's the groundkeeper on up, I mean, just to be around that atmosphere. So, all right, this is going to be interesting. Now we're going to go from jobs that don't want to be, no matter if the money's, no matter what they pay you, we're not taking these jobs. So, for me, number five, I'm sorry, I do not want to be anywhere near being a mayor or a governor or any political office. No matter if I'm doing a good job, somebody's always going to be mad at you. So
Exactly.
you're number five.
My number five, and I think it's because of the guilt. Because I don't want to be the guilty guy, and I want to be able to sleep at night and not be able to and not have nightmares. I don't ever want to be a death row executioner.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, you got to need a strong will for that one. For me, growing up, I know times have changed, and the young elementary kid in me probably would say, "Yeah, this is what I want to be because they help people." And and for anybody that's in this field, please thank you for your service. I don't want to be a cop. I'm sorry. The way things are going, no respect. So yeah, being a cop. Number four for you.
Number four, and it's for the reason for my number four is because I don't like seeing burning body parts. I have this absolutely scary, sickening fear of dying by being burnt up. But my number
Uh-oh.
four, believe me, I have the absolute and utmost respect for these ladies and gentlemen that do this. But I am never going to be a firefighter. Never.
Yeah, I think I could. I think four. Both of our fours are kind of in the same boat. It's like growing up, yeah, as a kid, that would be like one of our first things, be a firefighter because we save people. But yeah, nowadays, yeah. Number three, I've heard stories of this job finding babies, guns, drugs, body parts, you name it. I don't know if I could do it, but cleaning out porta potties.
I could do it. I could do it. I don't have to like it, but I could do it. Oof.
I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. No. You're number three.
My number three kind of is based a little bit on the rationale for my number four. I have this reoccurring nightmare that I'm going to drown. I have this absolute fear that I am going to I have this fear that I love being in the water. I love to swim. I love all of that. But I have this phobia of drowning. So on that aspect alone, I can never be a lifeguard.
Yeah. Nope, I get you. Or even what was that movie that Ashton Kutcher was in with Cruz or not Cruz, Cosner, doing that
I
job.
know. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
No way.
Absolutely. Utmost respect for those people, but I can't do that.
Yep. Oh yeah. My number 2, just the fact that I think I would be just worried looking over my shoulders if I convicted anybody or wrongfully convicted anybody or did whatever. That would be a lawyer or a judge.
I never thought of that one, but yeah, that's bad.
Number 2.
All right. Well, it's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 2.
Ooh, look what I found.
Look what we found. Looky here. My number 2 is your number 4. I can't do it. I can't be a police officer this day and time. I can't do it. And especially, it's just not. No. I applaud. I've got cousins who are police officers, and I have the utmost respect.
I got cousins.
I can't do it. Honestly can't do it.
Yep. Nope, I totally get you. My number 1, and actually from living where I live at and working places, I actually got to meet the person I'm going to talk about here shortly, because this person would tell me her job was a lose-lose situation when it came in the winter months, and she would get hate mail, she would get bills, she would get people wanting her to pay for them to stay home because school got canceled, or got emails because school did not get canceled and it was snowing out. And that would be a superintendent of schools.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I couldn't do that. No way. Yeah. You're number 1.
My number 1. It's kind of, my number 1 is almost kind of like a number 2, like a super number 2. To think that you have to put your life on the line for somebody else who you may not actually agree with kind of bothers me a lot. Unless you're lucky enough to work in the because everybody keeps forgetting that this department is actually part of the Department of Finance. But I could not find myself trying to protect the President of the United States. I cannot be a Secret Service agent. Cannot do it.
I almost threw that one in there too, and I'm just like, what's the chances of? Yeah, I couldn't do that one either. Yeah. All right, so we got down to that. Have a comment here. Let's see, stand up. Oh, he wants to talk about your comedy.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to living or dead. People you'd like to have dinner with and give a little chat to. So I'll let you start with number 5.
Cool, because I can do this. I don't think my wife would be. I don't think my wife would be too afraid of this because, my number 5 is dead. Well, to have dinner, I'm going to be nice right now, saying the second most beautiful person in the world. She knows right now that I'm kissing ass if she's watching. But my number 5 would be Marilyn Monroe.
Gotcha. For me, my number 5, and I would just like to get the perspective of what it's like growing up in somebody that's famous. So I would like to talk to any celebrity kid right now. Just
that's good. I never even thought of that. Wow.
So, all right, you're number 4.
I would like to have dinner, and my number 4 is alive. I know he's alive, but I also want to go to dinner with probably the baddest man on the planet. I've never seen an 80-plus-year-old person lose his ever loving mind because somebody said the lunar landing was faked. I would love to sit there and have. I would pay for that meal too. Um, just how crazy it is just to get a chance to ask all the right questions to this man, and it'd be absolutely fun. I think it would be the most interesting conversation I've ever had in my life. And that's with Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. And then you'd end the conversation by telling them the moon landing was fake.
I like
So
to
he
keep
can
my
get you.
jaw. I like to keep my jaw.
My number 4, lovely lady, great actress, lived to be shy of 100. And that's one Betty White. I think the story she could tell, I think, would be amazing. Anybody that lives that long.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Absolutely.
you're number 3.
One of the founding fathers. I love the stories. I would love to hear about a story that keeps coming up and a rumor about something that happened in Paris, in a basement of a house that he was renting. I don't know if you know this, but there was a house that was being rented in Paris, and they went and remodeled it and found dead bodies in the basement. But he's a founding father. They named Franklin Financial after this man. Just the stories that this guy would have, because I think he would be one of the funniest guys to ever talk to, and that's one Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. For me, my number 3, I think it would be just fun to be on the journey with him and coming across the ocean and landing on, the United States, depending on what stories you hear or read. And that'd be Christopher Columbus. I think that would be a fun one. You're number 2.
Not bad. The only other person that's alive on this list. So my other person is dead. To me, I've seen the stories, but to hear it come from his mouth would be amazing to understand where he came up with so many different ideas to revolutionize movies and heck even TVs and just because of something he did in 1977 would be amazing, and then turn around and sell his company off for $6 billion to Disney. Yes, and he's going to be buying the dinner because I would expect it. And that's George Lucas.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. My number 2 is probably one of the funniest guys right now going. I think he stands no taller than 5'5", I think. I mean, but that'd be one Kevin Hart. I would love to sit down and just chat with him. I think that would just be hilarious.
Talk to Ryan.
Yeah.
Talk to Ryan. He's talked to Kevin Hart.
Nice. All right. Number 1.
I think I'm going to say probably one of the most influential people of the 20th century and further. Even though most people don't, most people only knew for him about in one decade. A nice Baptist minister from Mobile, Alabama. Just to think about how he got started in the civil rights movement, how he got in there, how his wife, everything about his family. It's crazy to see what if I'd love to know if right now he would be disappointed or what his feelings would be now with race relations in the United States, and I would love to just pick his brain and see where we've gone wrong, what we can do, how we can get further on, and that's Martin Luther King.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I should have added that one. That was a good one. I was thinking of that one, or even Abe Lincoln would have been a good one. My number one, again, probably the most iconic person today from entertainment standpoint to movies to, I mean, whatever he gets his hands on seems to touch gold. Just returned this past weekend or past Friday back to SmackDown. That's one Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I would love to sit down and just chit chat with him.
That'd be cool. That would
Yeah,
honestly be
so,
cool.
yeah. All right. So last category we got today. Um, Things we go back and tell ourselves. I know we probably did something like this. I know we kind of all sit back and kind of think, God, if I could go back and get in the DeLorean and go back and tell myself this, I would. So for me, number 5, I will start with. I know as a kid, we thought our parents or elderly didn't know any better, you know, but I would definitely listen to the adults. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. So number 5 for you.
My number 5. And I find it, I can't believe it took me almost 40 years to figure this out. It's really weird because I'm not a person, and I'm good at half of this, but I'm not good at the other half. And it's really strange that when I wrote it, I'm like, God, I gotta listen to myself about this one today, not even about what I've done in the last 35 years, 36 years. Um,
Yeah.
my number 5 is forgive others and yourself.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. I like that one. For me, because I struggled through school and you know, try to pass on to my son Jackson to do this a lot too, and that's just to study harder. You know, something I did not do. Skated by. So you're number 4.
My number 4, and I kind of I have this, but I've had to learn to do this because I really wasn't a big fan of other people. I'm not a big fan of people in general, um, but I'm getting there. I'm getting to that where I'm so used to doing things for myself, doing things for myself too, because I know I can do it. Um, but my number 4 is have faith in others.
Yeah, yeah. I can see how that would be. For me, number 3, and kind of go back a few years ago, even too, is tell myself just take more chances, and you know, be in school, talk to whoever, or just just don't go with the sure thing, take a chance here or there.
Exactly.
So you're number 2 or number 3.
My number 3. Everybody thinks that you have to succeed all the time. I've always one of those people that I need to succeed. I need, in order for me to go
Yep.
further on, I have to succeed. It takes somebody who's failed to learn something. You don't learn something unless you've done something wrong. Um,
Yep.
my number 3 is failure can be a good thing.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. And admit to failure. Admit when something went wrong.
Exactly.
For me, my number 2 is learn a skill. Be in computers, handyman. Just focus on learning a skill because that could go a long way. So,
Exactly.
all right, you're number 2.
My number 2, I see this with everybody, and this is, and I think this is, my mom and my brothers told my mom this, my brothers told me this, and it's true, and it's absolutely true when you realize this, because the moment you start doing this, you have no control in your life. And my brother told me this, and I would love for me to for me to go back and tell myself when I was younger, worry about what you can control. If it's in your control, then worry about it. If you can't control it, forget about it. Let it.
Yep.
You're gonna make yourself sick. You're gonna give yourself a heart attack. You're gonna give yourself a stroke. Just control what you can control.
Yep, that was.
She's out there. It sounded like she farted in there.
Yeah, no, I definitely control what you can control, or worry about what you control. So my number one, Tim, and I know you probably struggled with this when you were a kid because you wanted everything, and every time you had a penny or two, went out and probably got it. But definitely learn how to save. Do what you can to save. So
that would have been my number 6. That honestly would have been my number 6.
Yep.
And my number 1, I think a lot of people need to hear this when they're younger, especially if they're not they don't have a lot of self-esteem. They don't have a lot of they're not really self-assured about themselves. I know I wasn't. I know I didn't have the world's greatest self-esteem. I wasn't too confident. My number 1 is be confident.
Yep.
Go out there, like you said, go out there, take chances, but at least be confident in going and taking that chance.
Yep, exactly. So, all right. So again, that's our list for today. I know we're a little early, but it's not the same when you don't snipe people and get into the deep conversations. This was kind of an open forum kind of thing. So,
right.
But next week will be a different story because we'll probably most likely do birthdays next week. Get back into routine. So
we still got states that we got to do. We know.
Yeah, we still got states. We got to look back and find out where we left off. So we got some good ones coming up.
I think I've got that. I think I've got that list figured. I've pretty much got that list on my computer.
And if anybody's wondering, we figured it out. November 1st was our first show. So we're coming up on just over a month left of that. And I would almost assume, I haven't talked to Tim, but I know he's probably thinking the same thing. The kickoff to year 2 is going to be a big show. So we'll have a mega show probably. So with that being said, Tim, your final thoughts?
I love this stuff. Stay tuned. What do we got tonight? We've got Sports Minute tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Sports Minute tonight. Tomorrow we're doing, what are we doing Between the Ropes because we got pushed back?
I believe we are going to do Between the Ropes tomorrow. A lot of people couldn't make it, so stay tuned to that.
We've got what do we got else? We got Keeping It Real on Thursday.
Keeping It Real on Thursday. Callan's show, Press Row.
Yeah, the new professor.
And then Saturday. Yep. And then On Deck and Morning Tailgate, which you guys have been handling really good on Morning Tailgate. My hours, I just can't be on there right now, but I'll send my picks, my big baller, like I was just there. So,
here's the funny thing. But here's the funny thing is, for some reason, I can't pick. I am 16 for 16 this year in football. It's almost like that. I'm gonna have to buy a Ouija board because I'm gonna pick games by Ouija board this year at this week because that's how terrible I am.
Yeah. So with that being said, just keep checking out C2C. We'll see you all next week on C2C. Have a good one.